Have your teachers embraced flexible learning spaces at your school?
Yeah, I think they definitely have, and I think the reason why that is so is because that we had quite a long time. The process took a long time, and we had quite a long time to think about teaching and learning and how it might look. There was a fair bit of trialling of different organisational processes. There was a fair bit of trialling around the organisational aspects of flexible learning and flexible spaces, and even though we were very constrained at the previous school, teachers started to think about what was going to be required once we moved here, knowing that we had that flexibility. So I think they've embraced it really well. They're still trialling things. They're still testing the waters a bit and moving forward. But it's they try things, and if that doesn't work, they try something different. And I think the great thing is that they've got great flexibility to choose their own adventure a little bit on it as well.
Do you know if high schools are moving into this new flexible learning space type of learning?
There's been a lot of research over the years around flexible learning spaces. There's a lot of research around the type of learning that should be facilitated for students. High schools, secondary schools are trying very hard to move in that direction. Their buildings, I've been to a few schools in Geelong and other parts of Australia, and they're certainly building schools in this kind of way. A lot of the new buildings that a lot of schools got through the BER program are designed very similarly to this. So most schools have learning spaces now in Australia that look similar to this. Their difficulties, I think, in secondary schools is around, that perception and past practice and history and tradition of having, faculties and teachers having expertise in one area and not others, and, you go to maths, you go to science, you go to English, and all that sort of thing. Whereas, so I think it's going to take them a longer time to change that culture.
Do you see any negatives with this new way of teaching compared to the old way?
If we talked about flexible learning spaces, generally speaking, not necessarily at Anglesey, but some schools have flexible learning spaces, but teachers still tending to have their own little group of students and operating in the old-fashioned way, and I use old-fashioned loosely there, but they're operating in the old way within a flexible learning space. I think that would be very negative, but the key to it, I think, here is that the teachers are working together, they're teaming together, and I can't really think of any major negatives because of that.